YouTube. As you can see, it's a little bit of a different style. Still the same room, but I think a little, I added some LEDs. I don't know if this is gonna be the entire video. I'm not sure, but I'm back. It's been a minute. It's been like 2 weeks, I think. But yesterday, I got the chance to see Shelby Oaks. It was a free early screening at Regal. Now, it was originally supposed to be Regal Union Square, but they changed it to Regal Essex Crossing, which is like in the Lower East Side. And it's kind of close. It's like closer to the two bridges, the neighborhood that I lived in like when I was a kid, which is close to Chinatown. So you get it. But yeah, I got to see Shelby Oaks early, and it was a Q&A. The director, Chris, he was there. Chris Stuckman, pretty sure. Stuckman. Somebody knocking on my door. I think so. Hold on. All right. Sorry about that. I'm back. Somebody was at my door, but I didn't answer because I wasn't expecting anyone. So, anyways, yeah, Shelby Oaks, Chris Stuckman, yes, the director. He's also a YouTuber. I've watched him here and there throughout the years, not as of recently, but I've been, tapping in because, I've been hearing for a while that he's making a movie. And when I heard that he got the producers as Neon, I was like, okay, he's in good hands, So Shelby Oaks, it's about this woman, Mia, who is looking for her sister that went missing. Her name is Riley. Mia is played by Camille Sullivan, and Riley is played by Sarah Dern. We also have a few other characters. I feel like the only other important one is the Robert. I'm pretty sure Robert. Yeah, Robert, who is like kind of like the main antagonist of the movie, or at least the main vessel that is being used throughout the movie. And then we have Norma, who is Robert's quote unquote mother, but let's be real, she probably just possessed that poor dude. So Robert is played by Brandon Saxton III, who was also at the screening of the movie that I went to. Now, the movie, so the theater, Regal, the Essex Crossing, I've never been there before. It was first come, first serve. It's free tickets, so it's like, it's RSVP. I took my mom. I was able to get good seats, right in the middle. We didn't have to sit near anyone in like a row. It was like our own two little things, there was like two handicap spots. And it was like the perfect view of the theater. There was a railing there, so like I was concerned that I was gonna have to break my neck looking at Chris, but thankfully it was cool. Also, the interviewer or the person doing the interviewing Chris during the Q&A portion was Perry Nemroff, who I know of her as well. She does she's in the industry. She does movie reviews. I wasn't expecting her to be the interviewer, so that was really crazy because I'm used to seeing her I'm an AMC guy. I'm not a Regal guy. But I'm used to seeing her in the ads, and I'm used to watching, some of her reviews for certain movies. So I was pleasantly surprised that she was there. So shout out to her. Now, Chris, I was looking forward to this movie. I knew of Chris. I know that, he loves movies. So I'm like, okay, I believe, because we also have, I forgot their names, but the twins that did Talk to Me and recently Bring Her Back, which was incredible, by the way. The YouTubers are starting to become directors, and now, there's this kid that's like my age or like a little bit younger than me who's directing the Backrooms movie because that's his creation. So it's like a lot of YouTubers are getting time to shine, which I really appreciate considering that me, myself, I'm trying to, get more into that type of, industry, besides like being a main at YouTube and TikTok. I also want to, be an actor as well, potentially a director, writer, producer, all that stuff. I'm trying to dip my toes into everything because I love movies, But I think it's really cool that, YouTubers are getting, more spotlight, and getting a chance to, live out their dreams. So in terms of this movie, I was excited, but I was keeping my expectations at bay because, I didn't want this to be another long leg situation, where the hype was just, yeah, it's the scariest thing since, yeah. I will say this movie is better than Long Legs, in my opinion. And it's overall a good movie. Like, genuinely, it was a good movie. And what I like, because movies don't really scare me. But I will say this movie has some very, at times, I was a little unsettled by some of the imagery, some of what was going on. He really knew how to set a creepy atmosphere, which I really appreciated. And I don't know if it was the theater I was in, but like the score was so powerful. Like there was the vibration was so intense during certain scenes. It was like I'm like, damn, bro, is this shit about to collapse? Like, what's going on? Like, it was really in your face, and I'm not sure if it was like just the auditorium that I was in, or if that's like gonna be everyone's experience. But whoever sees this in Dolby Cinema, bro, good luck to you, bro, because that shit, it's a lot. But yeah, Shelby Oaks. So this is more of like a found footage, like Blair Witch, supernatural, paranormal activity type of movie. I'm not the biggest fan of those types of movies, but I feel like here it works. It starts off kind of in like a documentary type of way where they're explaining everything that's happened. So Riley, she is her and a few friends, they have this YouTube channel where they go explore haunted places, this, that, and the third. And then they went missing in a abandoned town called Shelby Oaks, which during the Q&A, in Ohio, it takes place in Ohio. Most of those shots that, if you see the movie, most of those shots in the movie are actual real abandoned locations. There's this one prominent place, this amusement park, that's actually a real amusement park. The director, Chris, he confirmed it, which is, I'm glad that, I was there for the Q&A because I got a lot of behind the scenes, that I could just say here. He also said something about the home video release. So I'll try to remember it, but I'll come back to that. But yeah, most of those sets are real abandoned places. The jail, he said that he knew someone who worked at a jail, and he, word connections. And most of the like drone shots, there's one scene at an abandoned baseball park that's real. And a majority of just the outside shots and the landscapes are all real, which I really appreciate it because it makes the film look bigger and grander than it, actually is, considering the budget. And what I will say is the gore, there isn't much, but when there is gore, it's really effective, and it's really like, whoa, I wasn't expecting that. There's a point in the movie where one of Riley's friends, he gets his face just fucking ripped off, dude, and we see that shit. And Chris was talking about how originally it wasn't in the final cut because there wasn't enough time, but it was in the script. So when they got the chance to do reshoots, he was able to, put that in, which I'm glad they did, because that visual of his shit just getting, it looked like fucking, the fucking pizza when you like pull the cheese and it just like melts off. That's what his fucking face looked like. It was beautiful. And yeah, besides that, there's not that much gore. It's more, and there's like a handful of jump scares, but it's more of just like building that creepy atmosphere. So yeah, the movie starts off in kind of like a documentary type of way. It takes a little bit to get into it. The intro is kind of long, but I didn't hate it. I felt like it was paced nicely, because it was just pulling us into this world, explaining everything that happened, yada, yada, yada. So the crux of the story is there's this like demon, who also controls dogs. He's like a hellhound, some shit like that. And he's been stalking Riley in her... I don't know if you heard that, but some little kid just fucking. Uh, so yeah, this demon has been stalking Riley ever since she was a kid, and there's this guy, Robert, who is basically he's possessed. He's used as a vessel for the demon, and he's basically he's the one who kidnaps Riley and kills all her friends, and Mia is just trying to find her sister and uncover the mystery of what the hell is going on. Um, and eventually she gets to this house where this old lady called Norma's at. And Norma's basically like the leader, I guess, or like the main one of like what's causing all this. And she okay, I feel like I just skipped a whole lot of shit. My fault. Let me backtrack a little bit. So, after the documentary shit, Robert pulls up to the front of the house. Oh my goodness. Hold on. Sorry about that. No, I feel like that was actually good because I feel like I just skipped a whole lot trying to just get to the crux of what's going on. So Robert pulls up to the front of the house where, Mia's house. And he at this point, this is what I get. What I'm assuming is just the Robert, like the actual Robert, not the possessed Robert that's been possessed for years. Because it's been 13 years since Riley went missing. And Robert's been in jail. He recently got released. Well, not recently, but like he went to jail when Mia was 13, and that's when she stopped having nightmares, because before that she was having nightmares and she was like drawing the nightmares of like the creature in the window and all that shit. And at one point even Mia saw the creature but thought it was just like all in her head and shit. So Robert just blows his brains out right in front of Mia. He has a tape, and the tape reveals the missing footage of what the cops didn't find, because they found the bodies of her friends dead, but they didn't find her. Basically, all this time she's been at the house where her friends died, in a little cellar. She's been kept there, and the possessed Robert. Oh God, So Mia pulls up, right. First, she goes to the jail because that's where Robert stayed at when he was in prison. Then she goes to Norma's place. And then she goes through a book. And the book, it shows Riley and Robert. And as she's flipping through it, we see that Riley gets impregnated and then gives birth, but the baby's stillborn. And oh, bro. When I saw that shit, I almost had a stroke. But basically, Robert kept trying with Riley, and she had multiple miscarriages, and it was horrible. Like, even though we weren't like actually seeing it happen, we were just looking at what was going on through pictures. It was like, whoa. Like, I never felt a movie hasn't got a reaction out of me the way that did in a while. Just the reveal of that shit is traumatic. That is horrific. And the fact that Mia, her sister, that's been looking for her for 13 years, the fact that she now knows what's been happening to her sister all this time, getting raped, impregnated, and then having multiple miscarriages before it finally works, is horrible. Then it's revealed that Norma's kind of like the demon low-key, but not really. She's like, in my opinion, she's kind of like a witch. She opens the cellar. Mia goes to get Riley. Then Riley goes to get the baby. And then Norma does this spell and basically transfers the demon to the baby. And then she dies because she, slits her wrists and shit. And then she dies. And it's all happy, happy, happy. They go to the hospital. Everything seems fine. Then Riley tries to smother the baby, talking about, I gotta kill it. And then Mia and Riley get into a little scuffle. Riley flips out the window and then gets killed by a bunch of dogs. Throughout the movie, we see multiple dogs The dog is like a part of the demon. And then we see Mia get possessed by the main demon, just like Robert. And that's how the movie ends. So no happy ending. I wasn't expecting this movie to have a happy ending, but the way that Riley died, that shit's fucked up, bro. Like her, first of all, it started when she was a kid, when she was a little kid, getting terrorized by this demon in her fucking dreams. Just for it to stop, just for her to get kidnapped, and then fucking brutalized for multiple years, just for her to meet her demise by a bunch of dogs, and her death, like the way her body is just like peeling off. There's like 3 dogs ripping her apart, and we see all of it. It is rough and it's visceral, and I ate that shit up. And then that final scream that Mia delivers as she's getting possessed is chilling. And that's how the movie ends. I will say that the performance by Camille Sullivan and Sarah Dern, even Brandon Saxton III and Robin Bartlett, who plays Norma, was incredible. They are the standouts. They carry the movie. It was fantastic. Now, I'm trying to think of if there's any other Q&A things that I might want to touch on. Honestly, basically just Chris talking about how, he just didn't give up. He kept going. It was hard, but he stuck to it. And it low-key, it inspired me a little bit. It got a fire lit under my ass, because he did say there were a lot of no's. You got to be prepared for that. You got to be prepared for rejection. And, that's just part of the industry, and that's just part of life. And, if you really want to make it happen, you just got to not give up. And that's just really about it. So yeah, that was Shelby Oaks. It was really good. It was really, really good. And I enjoyed it. And I would give it, like, if I had to rate it, I would give it like a solid 8. A solid 8. It was a really fun time. And my audience, they was eating that shit up. There's not a lot of comedy, but when there's like slight sprinkles of comedy, and when it happens, it's like, okay, it's funny, hee hee ha ha. It doesn't take you out of the experience. But for the most part, it's like very word. But yeah, man, that's it. I'm going to make another review right now for a movie that I saw a while ago that I made a review for, but I didn't like how it came out. But I still got to make it because, every movie that I see this year, I try to make a review for. The ones that I can talk about, because there are certain movies that I have seen that I can't talk about because of legal reasons. But let's just say I'm getting more and more, I'm getting closer to where I want to be in the industry. Let's just say that. But yeah, this was a really good time. Tomorrow, I see The Black Phone 2, and I will be making a review for that because I'm seeing it early, so hopefully I can get the review out the same day. We'll see. But today, I think I'll post this review today, and then the review for the movie that I saw. I'm just going to say what the movie is. It's one battle after another. I got to make a review for that because I've been seeing that shit, and I didn't. When I was making the video, I just wasn't in it. So I'm just going to redo it. But I'll post that probably, what's today? Wednesday? I'll post that probably Friday if I post this today in the Black Phone tomorrow. Because I saw Shelby Oaks yesterday, so it makes sense. So yeah, word. But yeah, man, I know I've been a little inconsistent here and on TikTok. I'm going to try to lock in and start giving you guys more content. Maybe more than just movie reviews. We'll see. If you guys like this style, let me know. I know I look a little weird. Maybe this is like a one and done little experimental thing. Word. But yeah, man, this has been my review for Shelby Oaks. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Go check it out. Word. I'm the Hero Light Legend, Tyree Figueroa, signing out. Peace.